completely exposed. So while they're telling us that it's all delays, right? They continue to tell us that delays, ISO's getting delayed. But here we just had a most recent meeting at the FDIC. And I talked about this with Jimmy, and we were talking about this. Jay Clayton was sitting at this meeting as well. And basically, this was a group, a systemic group committee, actually. They called it a committee, where they're talking about the current crisis. Now, Wall Street Silver is sharing these clips from this, but everyone can view this. I'll try to find the link for this and share it on down below for you guys. But this is from a most recent meeting here with the FDIC. And the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, remember guys, is the insurance company of the banks that back your accounts. The $250,000 that is FDIC insured within any major U.S. bank account, that is the FDIC, that is this group. And they're talking about the systemic risk in the situation at hand. Folks, you got to listen to this. You got to hear what they're talking about. Incredible.
It should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank?
You hear him? He said you would scare the public. And this is Gary Cohn. He was a former advisor in the Trump administration, same time that Jay Clayton was serving. He said you would scare the public if we told them what was going on.
Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim, right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that will charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
And that's the whole situation here, is they didn't expect us to be on their ass in the way that we are. And the decentralized media, the decentralized researchers here, we are working together as a community to find up and actually watch all these meetings and documents. And thank God in the United States, we have somewhat still of a rule of law, and we still have public access to all these records. We should have access to all of their calendars, all of these meetings, and we will spend the time to go watch them. And we will go, we are going to. And as he said, we would scare the public. We need them to have confidence in this thing, even though he's basically admitting that it's bust. Now, this is another one. And as you can see right here, Jay Clayton right there, FDIC, okay? And this is another major clip from the FDIC meeting showing this is going down soon. They are expecting it. And this is an FDIC quote right here. You don't want a huge run on the institutions, and they're going to be. And there is going to be. This was in November of 2022, folks. Check this one out. Jay Clayton sitting at the table as well, of course.
I wondered whether there are some market tests of whether you're being heard. And I think about TLAC. So TLAC should respond to good and bad news about the institutions. And it's really important. I mean, it's a little bit conflicted, right? I mean, it's important that people understand they can be bailed in, but you don't want a huge run on the institution. But they're going to be. And it could be an early warning signal to the FDIC and the primary regulators when these things happen. And there may be some other prices, this is similar to what Jay was saying, in the market that you can tell whether people understand who's going to be protected, who isn't going to be protected. It would be, I think, an interesting study to look at the evolution of market prices in a situation like March of 2020, for example, and see whether people understood what might happen.
Who's going to be protected? That's what he's asking right there, right? We're figuring out who's going to be protected, and it's going to be very clear, right? And as you guys see, they're trying not to panic, and they're trying to just have a respectable professional conversation, right? everyone, all hands on deck meeting. And how does that make us feel, right? How does that make you feel as an American? We got Jay Clayton sitting at the table here trying to figure out how to, keep this system afloat as they're admitting that it's about to go bust and the public is about to figure it out, right? And it's going to be very clear who's going to be protected. And that is why this $50,000 buyback conversation is not about $50,000 XRP and a buyback from the Federal Reserve. It is literally a conversation of who's going to protect us, who's going to protect our assets. What legal team can we assemble to help us protect, create the entities, the trusts, to not only be able to keep our assets, but to be able to protect them, to keep them, not get taxed away, and then to be able to generate some wealth from that too, right? So we've made it, we're accumulating it. Can we keep it? And then can we get it to multiply? Can we get a return from it and provide the generational wealth that we're all talking about, right? And as you can see, this is why this conversation is so important. It goes so much deeper than 50,000 XRP. Pull up your big boy pants, pull up to the table, just like these guys are doing. Jay Clayton, Gary Cohn, FDIC, they're all meeting. They're all talking. It's about to happen, similar to 2020. That was a good test for us. 2020 was a test, one of many. But this community and others here that are tapped in on what's taking place, this meeting here that's circulating, it's going around the community and we can now see it. It's not conspiracy theory like it was 10 years ago. The system's once again going bust. The liquidity crisis is here. The debt crisis is being called out. And the currency crisis is happening as well. I.e., other countries are ditching the United States dollar, they're ditching our treasuries, and our own banking system is saying that we don't have the assets, and it's pretty clear who's going to be covered. Good luck. Good luck to you, is what they're saying, right? And oh, by the way, let's not tell the public about this. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.